What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Did you miss me? Did you miss me? I missed me. I miss seeing me on here, believe it or not, because I'm always excited to be able to kick it with you guys on a regular basis. What's happening, friends and family? Did you know that it was the 25th of September, 2023? Year of our Lord? Did you know that it was the 25th of September, year of our Lord? Very, very, very interesting time of the year. And we have a lot to go over today. It is Monday. I haven't been in the studio since last week, actually since the week before. Haven't been in the studio here in Detroit since the week before, but I am very, very, very excited to be here before you today. I would advise you guys to hit a like for the algorithm. I appreciate you. Let me give a shout out to Mike, that dude. Absolutely awesome. I appreciate you, Mike, that dude, for holding me down on Cash App and always pouring into what it is that we got going on over here at the Millionaire Morning Show. Like the video. I read super chats throughout the day. I do not ask for it, but I have to acknowledge everybody that contributes on the platform, whether it's Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or super chats. So let's go ahead and get started today because we have a lot to cover. I want to go over the UAW strikes because I believe that they're going to cripple the Detroit automakers eventually. I want to also address the migrant crisis. I want to address the government shutdown. A lot of people weren't familiar with the idea that Congress could not get to a conclusion on how it is that they can solve for creating a budget for us to live by within the federal government. We all pay our taxes. We all take care of business, but government shutdown. Patrick Bet-David also had an interesting take on the UAW strike. I've been covering it for a long time. And then we had a crime spree that's happened over the weekend. Lots to go over. And then I want to go over the money. I want to break down the money for y'all. Shout out to Silva INCYT says first time ever catching a live show. Shout out to you for tapping in. I appreciate you. And we need to make sure that we get the housekeeping out of the way. So before we do that, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. If you are not a part of the Patreon, please do not come to me saying, Anton, how can I get money from you in order to invest in my business? I got the grant session coming up in November. We are doing the Pitch Your Business, in which I give money over into my people. It is not the first time that I've done it. Also, on top of that, you can go and look at the last one if you want to reference what the people's pitches were like and what my feedback was like for the people that I then sent money over into invest in their businesses, because I always like to pour into my people. On top of that, I got a video coming out today that is already set and scheduled to be released. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. We appreciate you, Teach Hanley. Ladies, get it for your fellas. Fellas, if you have not done it for yourself, or do not wait for the ladies to get it for you, we don't rock with any other Teach pack except for the one that we rock with here. Also, on top of that, we got the Q show tonight. You know we cook up. You know we do great things. It is going to be a great show tonight. I promise you. Man, if y'all not tapping into Monday nights on my other channel, and that link is in the description, y'all are really missing out. Seriously, you're really missing out. Last but not least, make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. I did an impromptu photo shoot. Literally was out on the street. As soon as I got back from Detroit, I pulled out the 96 Impala SS. The fellas pulled up on me with all of their cameras. They said, Anton, we want to take pictures. Let's go ahead and knock it out. I was in Greektown. I said, let's get it. And we started doing our thing. And so I dropped that on Instagram. And then I drop a lot of other clips and a lot of things on Instagram and have conversations. And I plan on going live on other platforms, as far as like Instagram lives on Thursday nights. Maybe I'll do a live on Twitter or something like that. Who knows? So make sure you tap into all of the other platforms. If it is not in the description, it is not mine. So anybody that reaches out to you on any other platform, it is not me. All right. So again, make sure you tap into the Patreon, get your Teach Hanley. Check in Monday night. We're going to get it rocking. Shout out to everybody that was a part of Fight Club. Hit a like for the YouTube algorithm and let's get it rocking. Let me give an acknowledgement first to Bitcoin Brown. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown. Bitcoin Brown says, Morning Time and Chasers. Thoughts on Usher getting that Apple Music Super Bowl spot? Crazy thing, though, that I found out years ago, those artists don't get paid for the performance from the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a promotional opportunity. Anytime that you get more visibility or you create a spot for yourself to then get a bigger bag, why would you ask for money from it? A lot of people think that they should get paid for every single thing that they do. And what they don't realize is that they're actually shooting themselves on the foot. Cassandra, come on, reach out, baby girl. Holla at Q and get on the panel. A lot of people shoot themselves on the foot. If you don't realize how much people's catalogs, opportunities, visibility in front of people that may or may not have been recognizing what you've been doing lately, right? Usher has a residency in Vegas. Maybe he want to keep that show popping. Maybe he got an upcoming album dropping out. You got to know how to take advantage of the opportunity that comes along with performing for the Super Bowl. I think it's great. I think Usher is a great performer. I went to his concert over in Vegas and his residency earlier this year. I think it went in February. Might have been March or April. But it was one of the best shows that I had been to. And it's a great performance. I just wonder if he's going to have those stripper poles like he had over in Vegas. Anyways, yeah, I think that it's a great opportunity. Thank you for Bitcoin Brown for supporting the platform. Thank you, my friend. And I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. Let me stop here first, right? Before we really deep dive into the show, if you following my other channel, the Anton Daniels channel, which we'll be doing a Monday night live stream on that. If you following the Anton Daniels channel, you know that I ran into some people while I was out that I wind up connecting with and doing business with, right? And it didn't really click, and you got to forgive me for a second because I'm a C student. It didn't really click until I slept on it overnight, and then it started really making sense, right? Because I was really perplexed. I mean, almost to the point to where I've been losing sleep because I've been following the migrant crisis. Shout out to my girl, Carrie. I've been following this migrant crisis and the UAW strikes, and see, I see a lot of people and content creators are starting to come over to my side. They trying to do the things that I do as far as the money, but they can't do what I do because nobody do it better than me. You know, shout out to all of my people that subscribe to the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to all of my people on Facebook. But when I deep dive into something and it becomes bothersome for me, I have to stick with it and I mine it out until I understand it. Back when I was a developer, I used to dream in code. And in a lot of instances, I wouldn't solve for the problem until I went to sleep at night. And then I would get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and I would hit the computer until I figured it out. Being a software engineer is really just solving for a problem that most people don't even know that they have yet. It's coming up with solutions, is presenting some people with an opportunity that they didn't know that they needed until you then presented it to them. A lot of times they think that they came up with it. People forgot that Steve Jobs invented the iPhone, and before people even realized what a smartphone was, he showed them and then gave them solutions to things that they didn't even know existed, right? And so I've always operated like that. I've always been a night owl. I've always been the type of person that needed to solve for something in the middle of the night. I don't know what that is, right? But it's bothered me. It's perplexed me. And when I was talking to him and I was having conversations with him, and I would never say his name, and this was a Friday night that I was thinking about this, and I couldn't sleep, and I was tossing and I was turning, and I had just flew back in from Dallas. And I was trying to understand, what is this migrant crisis about? Because even though we had a conversation last week and we were talking specifically about who's the contractors, what is the incentive? Why did they become sanctuary cities in the first place? What is Brandon Johnson getting out of it? How does it tie back into the Biden administration? What is Eric Adams doing over there in New York? Why are they building tent cities? Why are they estimating that it's costing $140,000 roughly per year per family in order to make sure that these migrants are taken care of? Why did they open up the border and why are they flooding in here? Why are the majority of them coming from Venezuela? Why is it the majority men? It's way more men than it is women. You know, those type of things keep me up at night. And sometimes I uncover problems or I uncover things that make me a little bit hesitant to even have these type of conversations on lives. If you know, you know. Pay attention. Follow along. Let's kick it for a minute. Sometimes I start to deep dive even to the point to where I'm not even really sure if I should be using my regular web browser to understand what was going on. But when I had that conversation with a guy, because then, you know, after I kicked it with him and then I talked to him on Sunday morning and we were going over some things, I got connected with a friend of a friend, and then, you know, certain conversations was had offline. And this was really the conclusion. Let me put it to you like this, and then I'm going to connect it on the back end, all right? The South has largely always had an advantage over the North because of immigration. I'm not talking about regular people. I'm not talking about people that feel like they're entitled to a job. I'm not talking about people that's protesting for $15, $16, $17, $18, $19 an hour. I'm not talking about these UAW striking members. I'm talking about the haves and the have-nots. When we're talking about a class war that has already been executed, being implemented right before your very eyes, way before you ever even opened up your eyes and your little chinny chin chin, the South has always had an advantage over the North. And the reason that the South has had an advantage over the North, even when it came to the slave trade, even when it came to immigration, is because labor is cheaper. I was talking to somebody over in Dallas when I was down there because I was doing some research from an investment perspective. Don't worry, I'm going to tie it back in for y'all. I was doing some research in Dallas, and they said, Anton, we can get these houses up in half the time that you're getting them up over in Detroit. Because a lot of people know that I'm breaking down in the Patreon exactly what it's costing me and what the process is of building these houses because it's my first time doing it, right? And I'm building multiple different properties at the same time. He said, Anton, I was talking about security in Dallas. He said, let me connect you with this person. I talked to the person. They said, man, we throwing these houses up 10 at a time, and we doing it in less than half the time that it's taking you to do one. And, you know, I'm slow. So I'm like, oh, really? Wow, okay, interesting. But it didn't start clicking until I started making them phone calls on Sunday morning. Then I ran into the guy that I ran into at Somerset Mall, and we was having a conversation, and I talked to him Sunday morning, and I said, hey, man, I know we about to do business. I know you connected me with this person and that person. I know you're going to put a whole lot more money in my pocket as a result of us moving a lot faster and being able to run that number up. What's going on? He said, man, let me tell you something. I put people to work. I said, how are you able to do it so much faster than the contractors that I already got? He said, I got the licenses. I said, what licenses? He said, I'm the person that can get things done. Now, this guy, huge guy, 6'6", 6'7", don't look like he ever picked up a hammer in his life. Chaldean, go over to have dinner with him, lamb chops. Don't you know that they're funneling? I shouldn't even be having this conversation. Don't you know that they're funneling migrants up here in order to replace you so that we can get this work done? Don't you know that people that have resources are incentivizing for the borders to stay open? Don't you know that lobbyists play a certain game that you're not familiar with? And so when you sit there and you're easily swayed on which way that you're supposed to vote based off of whatever presidential candidate or whatever legislator or whatever congress member or whatever mayor is in front of you, and they're telling you these surface level points, don't you know that the rich people win no matter what? He's like, man, I got a whole team of Venezuelans that's working for me. Honest to God, sat there and told me that to my face. He said, I got a whole team of Venezuelans that's ready to go right now. We throwing up this building over here, and we throwing up that building over there, and we doing this house over there already. We already taking care of it. Come on, Anton, let's jump into this. Now, I'm at a loss for words, right? Because I'm a patriot. I'm an American, but I'm also a capitalist. So how do you balance the two? How do you balance the two? Because it's all competition. Come on, man. I need y'all to put it together. Come back to the front of the congregation and put it all back together. When you vote Democrat, rich people win more. When you vote conservative, rich people win more. Your president leaving the border open, your Congress leaving the border open, your legislators leaving the border open actually allows for us to get richer, and it creates a bigger divide between the haves and the have-nots. It's a class war. You sitting here thinking that you're being displaced because you black. You being displaced because you make too much money and you complain too much and you don't do enough work. So now it's a possibility that I can get whatever it is that I need to get done in half the time because I'm the employer. I'm the person that's writing the checks. And the people that write the checks, they pay less in taxes, and they're more incentived in order to be able to continue to remove you from the equation in order to ensure that we run the numbers up. So when you see your president, he say, listen, this is a black issue. This is a white issue, rappers, whatever, so on and so forth. We need to make sure that we're inclusive to everybody. You trying to figure out why it is that so many migrants, listen, 500,000 of them overnight, literally last week, just got legalized. Ability to be able to work. You trying to figure out why Eric Adams is on every single platform, and then next thing you know, Biden is over in New York City, and he's having a conversation saying that, hey, man, we need to be able to put these people to work. You see these protests that's happening over there with the UAW? We're going to go over it today. We're going to go over it today. You see these protests that's happening over at the UAW? You see all of these people talking about what they want and how you need to pay $30 an hour over at the Taco Bell worker. You see all of these jobs that keep going unfulfilled, and the majority of the people are saying that they want more money, but they want less work, and they chilling at the crib, and they getting government benefits and all of that. Who you think gonna make money on top of that? Who you think gonna benefit as a result of it? When you start to break it down, listen, I'm a C student. It took me a minute to start to figure out. I had to have some conversations in order to understand it. So I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not the coolest blade in the tool shed, whatever metaphor that you want to use. Who do you think benefits when you vote the way that you vote? When you see all of these contractors, if y'all got to get out of y'all comfort zone. Go down to Texas. Go down to Miami. Look at how fast that they built that place up. You think Miami is just cool because it's cool? Because they in the South and we in the North? You think they throwing up all of them buildings and all of them condos that fast because they just better than you? You don't think that it's being incentivized for them to continue to make money as a result of it? You think that they building all of them cookie cutter houses as fast as they possibly can in Texas Because they just better than what's going on in the North? No. They've had a strategic advantage for a long time. And now it's become political, and political issues then become financial come-ups for people that have versus the people that don't have. Political issues are the come-up. You keep trying to figure out, why do these people keep wrestling over power? Why do these Congress members and legislators and all of these people continue to try to maintain relevancy inside of these legislative branches? You ain't put it together yet? I certainly didn't. I'm not even going to hold you accountable as a result of it. You ain't put it together yet? It's the flow of money. You think that this is a race war. You think that this is a gender issue. You think that it matters about whether or not you women or men. You didn't understand how it is that they built up Dubai so fast. You don't even understand the dynamics of how money works over in these other countries when you go and visit. You think it's just oil money. You don't get to see how the other people live over there. Go over to Qatar. You're trying to understand why it is that they're able to give these soccer players billion-dollar deals. You ain't got it yet. You ain't figured it out. Listen, Trump renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement, and then he leveraged a trade war over with China. Now we got a semiconductor chip shortage. Then we had logistic issues. Now we have a crisis when it comes to how much money is being flown inside and outside of the United States. And we need another voter block. And you still ain't figured it out. You just over there getting displaced. You still making the same decisions that you're making, regardless of what your circumstance is. And you think that it's just going to play out for you just because the people is going to work on your behalf, because they got your back. They're going to forgive your student loans. If they forgave your student loans tomorrow, it wouldn't even matter, because somehow, some way, the people that have are going to get richer, and the people that don't have, or the people that are in the middle class, are going to continue to live the same life with the wool over their eyes, and you guys are going to be the ones that pay for the people that have to have more. Am I saying too much? Am I going too deep? Is this too much over your head? You want me to dumb it down and start to talk back about the races, war? Oh man, white people, I can't believe he called me a name. Man, that white man ain't got no more power than you do. It's more of them on social services than you. They've been completely displaced because they thought that it was a race war, and they wasn't paying attention how the rug was getting swept right under their feet. What you think that when people go to these dinners and they having these conversations, let me tell you something, bro. You know why rich people dress poor and drive regular cars? Do you know why rich people dress poor and drive regular cars? We all had it wrong, myself included. And that they only start to show money when they're around other rich people that they feel comfortable with. I'm not talking about the regular everyday millionaire whose equity is tied up in his home, but he can't really maintain a lifestyle. Do you know why rich people drive regular cars and they look regular as hell, more regular than you? It has nothing to do with money. It has everything to do with the fact that they moving in a certain way that don't allow for them to really be visible. They can't bring attention to themselves because they moving a little bit differently. And they in certain social circles, and they don't want to be tied to certain things. And so as a result, they want to, but they can't, because the type of business that they move in or the type of lifestyle that they live it's not really conducive for visibility. They have to blend in because they don't have a choice. Otherwise, the visibility messes up their bag. It creates... It's not because they trying to be stealthy and that they used to money. They're very, very flashy. Listen, go over there to Saudi Arabia, go over there to Dubai, and look at how they live. They've had money much longer than the people over here in the United States. Their cabs are Lamborghinis. If they are comfortable continuing to live this wealthy lifestyle, they have billion-dollar garages. Billion-dollar garages. The reason why they can be that way is because it's conducive for them to be able to live their regular life over there. The reason that you can't is because the businesses that you involved in and the lifestyle that you have to live in order to be able to generate those resources causes for you to have to be Frank Lucas. You cannot wear the chinchilla because you cannot bring visibility to yourself because you don't know what is going to happen and whose bag you're going to mess up as a result of somebody then paying attention to who you are. That's the difference between an entertainer and a person that continues to have to move a certain way because they can't bring visibility to them. It has nothing to do with new money versus old money. It has everything to do with a certain type of money that's coming in that cannot bring visibility to themselves. They can't do it. They can't live like that. It's not that they don't want to. It's not that they don't do it when it's convenient for them. Is that they can't do it. Y'all been fooled. Y'all have been fooled. Y'all have been finessed, and y'all have been conditioned to think a certain way because that is the way in which they keep you poor and in the middle class. It's worse to be in the middle than it is to be poor or rich. It's not even about being targeted, Azriel. They're not worried about being clipped. They worried about the visibility that comes from other things that people don't even realize creates visibility for them. You'll never see me coming if I don't want you to see me coming anymore. I've learned so much over this past week and a half. And it all seems surface level, but it was so much deeper when I started having conversations with people that explained it to me a little bit differently. I'm a be a completely different person in the way that I move because it's conducive for the direction that I want to go in. Don't worry, we'll get there. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and then we're going to get cooking with the show. It's going to be a good one today. This is going to be a phenomenal week. I got to talk to you in a way in which I can't really say it, but you're just going to have to read between the lines. You might have to replay it and then send this over to your family and friends. John Wick is in the building. Says Democrats want immigrants so they can replace the black vote. Small portion of it. Really don't even matter who it is that's in office. It really don't even matter who it is that's in office. I'm going to just tell you the honest to God truth. It does not matter. Democrat, Republican, you may make more money when one person get in than the other one, but it really don't matter. 187 says, sound like you met a Mexican Cliff. Y'all wow. Shout out to 187 in the building. I appreciate you. Alvin S says, I just received my first Teej pack. I'm a waiter waving back. I'm a water waving bag chaser for life. I'm a water waving bag chaser for life. See, I had to put that together. See, I'm a little slow. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate you, Alvin S. Get that Teej just in the description. 187 says we ready to compete. Wall Machine Incorporated. Shout out to Cliff. I appreciate you. Fanny P is in the building. Shout out to Fanny P. Says, hey, Anton, where can you find a video from last year's grant session you did for business? If you go inside of the Patreon and you scroll up, I got a lot of game, a lot of entertainment, a lot of business. It was 2 different videos because it actually spilled over into a second day. But if you go into the Patreon and you scroll up, I do still have the videos up there, the recordings of when I did the grant sessions for people that did participate, and then I sent them the money and I sent them the wires in order for them to get their businesses started. So it's in the Patreon. You just got to keep scrolling. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Fanny P. Looking forward to hearing your pitch. John Wick says, it's 2 birds and 1 stone that need cheap labor in the voter base, yet the people who complain about it don't vote, don't want to do those jobs. Shout out to you. I'm going to really get y'all in there today. I'm going to really, really help y'all to learn something today. We're going to have a conversation. I hope y'all ready. Reem Beam says, Akon going to help y'all get back home. Shout out to y'all. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's start over here with our local domestic issues. There's a stream of crime over the weekend, and guess where it just so happens to be? The foundation of crime starts in Chicago. I'm convinced that Chicago is a crime syndicate city. I just think that Chicago has to be one of the most corrupt cities in the United States of America. It has to be. And I don't have any proof as a result of it. I'm just giving my opinion. But Chicago has to be one of the most corrupt cities in the United States of America. Has to be. No way that they're not solving for the crime, but they're still allocating monies. Follow the money. Follow the money. They're still allocating money over into the worst places ever. Worst places ever. Shout out to Brandon Johnson. We love Brandon Johnson. And until we start to get the results that we want, we're going to continue to bring these public figures to the front of the congregation. Make sure that y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Let's figure out what happened over Chicago this weekend.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Hickey. Right now, we begin with a rash of armed robberies on the city's north and northwest side. Chicago police are investigating several incidents from overnight, and some of the victims are students. CBS 2's Sade Gray has the latest from Lincoln Park.
It's a crime we've reported on time and time again. Suspects robbing people at gunpoint. Our sources telling us some of those victims were robbed early Sunday morning are DePaul students.
It's sad that that's the reality that we're living in right now, but yeah, I think you have to be cautious.
A reality we've become all too familiar with. Suspects jumping out of a car and robbing victims at gunpoint.
That's concerning. I mean, I think safety is something that people might take for granted until it's them or someone they know that's a victim of it.
Chicago police say a 19-year-old man and a 19-year-old woman were walking near the 2200 block of North Racine around 2 a.m. when a car with 4 suspects inside approached them. Police say they were dressed in black clothing. One had a handgun and demanded the woman's property. When she refused, the suspect hit her on the forehead with the gun before taking both of their belongings.
Go ahead, keep acting tough. Listen, they were trained for this. They were trained for this. Keep acting tough. Now you got the gun butt on the front of your head. Bop, bop. Hit her in the head. You ain't got, listen. You ain't got to worry about it. Y'all keep saying protect black women. That white woman got her head knocked over. Yo, we don't hold white men to the same standards as we hold black men. My man was like, oh, this is the morning show. We know y'all watching this inside of the daycares and the churches. Shout out to the churches. That white man was like, oh, snaps. They slapped her in the face with the gun butt. You can have my wallet. You can have my wallet. They slapped me and I slapped that chick in the face with the gun butt. Why you ain't do nothing, Harry? What am I supposed to do? He just hit you in the face with the gun. I'm not trying to get hit in the face with the gun. Okay, so students over there getting their head cracked off, and now you get to see what's happening over in these streets in the same way that I get to see what's happening in these streets.
The woman was taken to the hospital when she was treated. Our sources tell us those victims are DePaul students.
It's sad. I think people like Lincoln Park because it's a safe neighborhood. At least that's been the perception for a long time, but yeah, like you said, this weekend before, I mean, I think things are definitely trending in the wrong direction.
Last weekend, 3 robberies were reported on DePaul University's Lincoln Park campus.
Absolutely have to be vigilant.
The list of armed robberies continues to grow. A 20-year-old man and a 21-year-old woman were walking on the sidewalk in the 3000 block of Tripp when 3 males got out of the SUV and took a cell phone and a purse at gunpoint.
Listen. You know it's rough. You know it's rough when they start robbing college students from DePaul over in Chicago. They ain't got nothing on them. So you got hit in the head with the pistol for a cell phone and your purse, and all you had to do was call. Listen, I'm not validating the crime and the robbery. I'm giving perspective, okay? I'm adding context. You know it's bad out here when you robbing students that's trying to get home from the bar at 2 a.m. These are some of the brokest people on earth. These are some of the brokest people on earth, and they riding around DePaul robbing students. You know it's bad. You know it's bad over in Chicago when it gets to this point.
Around 2:30 Sunday morning, police say a 40-year-old woman was standing on the sidewalk in the 1800 block of West Fullerton when 3 men in a car took her backpack, phone, and wallet at gunpoint. She was taken to the hospital for a head injury.
They just slapping the women. Hold on. Shout out to Chicago. Let me rewind this real quick.
In a car, took her backpack, phone, and wallet at gunpoint. She was taken to the hospital for a head injury.
Is that the new thing? Slap these women over the head with the butt of the pistol? Take her phone, her Dora the Explorer backpack, go and get her book bag. Is that what's normal? All over the weekend is just people riding around in Chicago near the campuses, slapping students in the head and sending chicks to the hospital with head injury. Every single person that went to the emergency room in Chicago this weekend that survived, all of them had a head injury, and they just so happen to be women, and their ponytails and their eyelashes is knocked half off their face. Is this what we doing in Chicago? Should we be profiling? Listen, suspects are getting out of a white SUV, slapping these chicks in the head with the pistol, sending them to the hospital, stealing their Dora the Explorer backpacks, and taking their cell phones. This what y'all doing in Chicago? Brandon Johnson, is this what they doing in your city? This is what the Dusties are saying that they doing? They rolling around on the college campuses, having a good time, slapping chicks in the head with the pistols.
It's, an issue that we can get under control here.
And you know that this is a serial pistol slapper. This is a serial pistol slapper because every single woman got the same injury at the same part of her head, which means he getting more and more confident slapping chicks in the head with the pistol.
Police say no one was arrested in any of these cases. Reporting in Lincoln Park, Sharday Gray, CBS 2 News.
Don't worry about it. Let's see what else was happening in Chicago over the weekend. Curious.
Breaking news this morning, Chicago police are investigating even more armed robberies in our area.
It can't be. Not Shutdown. Not the place where Jordan won 6 rings. Not the place where they sent us over Ben Gordon over in Chicago and Charlie Villanueva. See, I got to axe the ground with Chicago because when y'all sent over Charlie Villanueva and Ben Gordon, we had a problem. Y'all ain't won nothing since Jordan left. Y'all thought that Kirk Heinrich was the next coming of Larry Bird. You sent over Ben Gordon and Charlie Villanueva, and we never forgave you for it. Your cousins over here in Detroit never forgave you for it. Never forgave you for it. Not Chicago. More robberies? More robberies? Is this what we doing? Daytime, nighttime students, all women. Men just walking with the women, and then the men leave the woman to get slapped in the head with the gun. Don't worry about it. We gonna get there.
Learned there were at least 4 robberies last night on the city's north and west sides. CBS 2's Mugo Digwe live at CPD headquarters tracking these latest incidents. Good morning, Mugo.
Good morning, Ryan and Dana. So we know those 4 robberies happened in about 40 minutes. The victims say things like their purses, cell phones, and wallets were taken, but luckily...
Are y'all seeing Are y'all seeing a pattern here?
None of them were hurt. Now, we also know that the robberies involved a white SUV. All 4 of them involved a white SUV, and we also know that there were 3 to 4 male suspects involved. Now, according to Chicago police, the first one happened around 11 last night. That is where a woman was robbed near Armitage and Lincoln Park. 3 more robberies would follow, including another one that was also on Armitage over in Lincoln Park. We spoke with the victim in that case. It was around 11:20 last night, and the woman says she and her boyfriend were walking home from a concert at the Salt Shed after missing the bus. That's when a white SUV pulled up. Listen as she describes what happened next.
3 guys got out. At least one, maybe 2 of them had guns, and they...
Not y'all over here attacking white women. Not y'all over here attacking white women that's coming home from a concert. So y'all just gonna ride around the whole city. Everybody just gonna ride around the whole city, robbing everybody over the weekend, slapping them in the head, knocking their glasses off with their boyfriend. The boyfriend ain't even on camera no more. She ready to break up with him because she been slapped in the head with the gun, and y'all taking Dora the Explorer backpacks and cell phones and ex-concert tickets. Y'all over here robbing these old white women, these snow hares. Shout out to Umar Johnson. Y'all stealing from snow hares.
I had a purse, took my purse.
And, yep, Brittany, you said, wait, what, she got a boyfriend kicking y'all in the face. White women stay with a boyfriend. Black women can't keep a man. White women stay with a boyfriend. These black women can't keep a man. Y'all keep talking about ain't no good men out here. That's because all of these snow hares is out here getting them. Walking home from concerts, not being protected.
They told my boyfriend to get down. They went through his pockets. We complied. We didn't fight. We didn't try to run, and then they took off.
Again, we know all 4 of those robberies involved a white SUV, but right now Chicago police are not saying if they are connected, and no arrests either.
And I don't think the Chicago police should even make a big effort about it. They shouldn't even make a big stink about it. If I was the Chicago police, I would just say, hey, so you ain't have no Apple Care on your phone? You have insurance? Were you quiet? Did you get belligerent? Is that the reason why he slapped you? We need to understand why you got slapped. At this point, they're going to defund the police anyway. There's no reason. Chicago police is down all officers all across the board, and the officers that they do have is over there attending to the migrants because they sleeping in the Chicago police station. Why the boyfriends don't get slapped, but the girlfriends get slapped? And what is y'all snow hares doing with just boyfriends, and why y'all not married? Don't worry about it. We got a lot of questions, but we got a big show to continue through. Let me read a couple of these super chats, and then we gonna move over because we gonna stay in Chicago. We not going from Chicago. We gonna stick around. Aaron was feeling some type of way, and so as a result, he dropped a couple super chats. We appreciate him. Says she got smacked up over some French literature books, a student ID, a used up bus pass, and a bag of Flamin' Hots. And then he was feeling some type of way, and he says, nah, the Pistons are trash. Nah, the Bulls is trash. The Bulls been in purgatory for the longest, and now they got DeMar DeRozan, who's cursed, and we know he never get out of the first round of the playoffs, but neither here nor there. Shout out to Aaron. Let me continue over with the show. So let's stay in Chicago, right? Because while Snow Hares was over there getting slapped with the butt of the gun, and they boyfriends was like, I don't see nothing. I don't know where you got her from. She not mine. It's my turn. The boyfriend said, I don't see nothing. It's not yours. It's just your turn. Y'all don't think that white men watch the Millionaire Morning Show? I bet you they do. It's over 2,100 people in here right now, and the likes are anemic. And I know it's not my white snow. What did Omar Johnson? Snow puppies. I know it's not the snow puppies that's lacking on the likes. It gotta be those other people. It's always our brown and black and brown people of color that neglects the like button. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. I know it's not my snow bunnies. Not snow bunnies. I know it's not the snow puppies. What do you call the older white men? I know it's not my snow hounds, my snow dogs. I know it's not the snow dogs. So as a result, the white men, they watch the Millionaire Morning Show. They watch the Anton Daniels channel. They say, listen, she not mine. It's just my turn. I was trying to get her over from the concert over into the loft over there in Chicago. We missed the bus. You go ahead and take her Dora the Explorer backpack. We out here in these streets. The crime wave in Chicago continues against black people, white people, all across the board. Shout out to Marie McRae. She said, not me, I liked. But meanwhile, while there was a shout out to Marcus X, I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Meanwhile, while there was a record number of robberies over the weekend of people snapping the snow hairs in the face, Brandon Johnson was busy on the other end of the spectrum, and he was taking care of business with y'all migrants. Let's see what he was doing.
Concerns are mounting tonight for volunteer groups on the front lines of Chicago's migrant crisis. Around half a dozen buses carrying asylum seekers reportedly arrived to Chicago this weekend alone. New at 10, CBS 2's Andrew Ramos is at City Hall, hearing from advocates who say this adds a strain to an already challenging emergency.
Good evening, Megan. Well, it's a situation that has not only overwhelmed city agencies, but has also inundated volunteer groups. And now the city's migrant crisis may soon be entering a new chapter after the number of arriving asylum seekers hit a new high this weekend. The year-long effort to help asylum seekers being bussed in from the southern border has been challenging. Resources have dwindled while places to house these families have come up short. And news of a record number of arrivals this weekend, nearly a half dozen buses at one time, has volunteer groups working overtime.
Let's put this in perspective, y'all. Now, a lot of you guys decided that you wanted to arrive to the Millionaire Morning Show on a Monday morning late. Your fault, you missed out. I broke down exactly what I believe that the agenda is when it comes to the migrant crisis, okay? Now, what we see happening is that Chicago is reportedly over $584 million in one fiscal year over budget. They were projected to have about an $83 million budget deficit, but now they're almost a little bit close to $600 million, which is over $500 million in one fiscal year behind the eight ball. They have a budget deficit just based off of what they currently have going on in their city. All right. And now this weekend, they didn't just say, listen, we a sanctuary city. We begging Biden for student loan forgiveness on how it is that they can take our tax dollars from all across the United States of America and allocate it over into Chicago and New York. But what we gonna do is we gonna have a record number of buses coming into the city. Again, I need y'all to start following the money. I need y'all to start paying attention to what's going on in these streets. There's a record number of buses over the weekend. While everybody else was partying, you was taking flights. Some of y'all was down in Miami. You was shaking that tail feather. Some of y'all was at the concerts. Plenty of people was watching football, Super Bowl Sundays, preparing. Lions was over there whooping on the Falcons. Shout out to my Detroit Lions in the building. Right? You was watching Colorado get monkey pounded on Saturday from Oregon. Huh? The Ducks was over there stomping on Oregon, and they was having a way in there. And you had your latest celebrity that was over there in Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado. So while all of y'all was distracted and you was watching football, Chicago was over there having a record number of migrants bust into their city. Chicago had a record number of migrants bust into their city. University of Michigan was putting a pounding on Rutgers. It was stumping them into the ground. Mel Tucker up there at Michigan State was still with his hands on his head trying to figure out how he missed out on $85 billion by getting involved with a chick that he should have never been getting involved with in the first place. It's always the black men. Always the black men that get the bag, fumble the bag. He had private jets, access to the Michigan State private jet. Mel Tucker was shaking his head. Michigan was stomping on Rutgers. Deion Sanders was getting his butt kicked over there. Detroit Lions was monkey pounding on the Falcons. And Chicago was over here having a good old time. They said, listen, while everybody else is distracted, we're going to sit here and we're going to have a record number of migrants come into the city. Don't worry.
We don't know where they're going. We don't know where they're going to end up. And so everyone's kind of scrambling.
Erica Villegas, a lead volunteer with the police station response team, has worked vigorously with arriving migrants at police districts on the south side. The lack of communication on the ground, she says, is adding to the frustration. Many of the volunteers blindsided by new arrivals this weekend.
We get families that arrive at all different times, middle of the night, morning, evenings, without any notifications. And then we figure things out because there's no other way, because there is such a lack of communication from the city.
With this influx of migrants, the big concern now is winter.
We're going to have a lot of more medical needs. And so that's worrisome.
Shout out to
because we, as volunteers, are paying for most of all the medical needs out of pocket.
This all happens following an eventful week for this city as they navigate the migrant crisis. We learned about Mayor Johnson's $29 million plan that will create migrant-based...
Look at the beds. Hold on. Look at that. Look at it. Look at this. Your tax dollars at work right there. This is your tax dollars at work right here. Right here. right now, head to foot, foot to shoulders. Ain't head and shoulders a shampoo or something like that? Foot to shoulders, head and foot, whatever it is. Chicago is about to be cold in Chicago. They call it the Windy City for a reason. And this is where your tax dollars are going. This is where you got to spend $140,000 per family. This is where a $584 million budget shortfall. This is exactly what is going to be happening in a city near you. When your children walk to school, this is what, but see, nobody is asking the pertinent questions. Nobody is really having a conversation here. Nobody is trying to figure out who are the contractors that are building these tent cities. Who are the contractors that are going to be making sure that these people are fed and bussed in? And who are who are the people behind the scenes? And then where are these people going to go? Once because what, you think they just hanging around chilling? Yo, if you go to any Home Depot in the South, a lot of y'all need to go down to Texas and see what's happening. If you go to any Home Depot in the South, you want to know what you're going to see? You're going to see a bunch of black and brown people hanging out at the Home Depot waiting for some work or waiting for a contractor to come and pick them up in order for them to go out there and build some stuff. Put up a fence, lay some concrete, lay some walls, put up a whole house in 30 minutes, right? Do some drywalling, electrical, plumbing, carpentry. If you go to any Home Depot in any southern state, there's going to be people that is waiting outside. They don't even speak English a lot of times, but they will be waiting in order to get that work and get that bag and get that bread. Nope, they're not going to be sitting here finessing you. They're going to be out there putting it together, and it's going to be done right. It's going to be soundproofed. It's going to be taken care of, and it's going to be done right, and it's going to be up immediately. And you can get it done for a quarter of the price. Am I wrong or am I wrong? Am I off? Oh, this is coming to a city near you. You ain't even got to worry about it. Listen, all of you carpenters, all of you people that think that you deserve something, you UAW members, we got a whole new workforce coming in. Don't worry about it. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it.
Will create migrant base camps that are expected to go up across the city. And the Biden administration also announced that it will now issue temporary protected status to Venezuelans who arrive before July 31st, giving them a pathway to work legally, which many say will alleviate pressure from the city. Now, we did reach out to the city to find out exactly how many migrants arrived to Chicago this weekend. We did not hear back. Reporting.
Don't worry about it. Now, we're going to switch over for a second. So since we know that New York and Chicago are best friends, we're brothers. Since we know that Chicago and New York, Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson, they have to be brothers. They have to be related. There's no way in the world that these guys are not distant cousins. I know one of them got hair, one of them don't. Right? They both talk like preachers. They both are your uncles. One of them trying to be young. He got the high top fade with the spiky hair. And the other one, Eric Adams, looked like he just came from skating on a Sunday night with the old school Isley brothers playing in the background. They got to be cousins. They have to be cousins. There's no way that these guys are not related. They're taking the same approach. And so this is what's happening over in New York.
Another migrant shelter here in the city confronted by another protest and counter-protest, this time outside the Manhattan College, where city officials plan to turn a former dorm into temporary emergency housing.
These protests happening as asylum seekers are now only permitted to stay in the temporary housing for 30 days. Fox 5's Stephanie Bertini has the details.
This woman and her little boy came to the United States.
Ooh, she got on them Supreme leans. Hold on, let me back them up, Rick. Let me back that thing up. Girl, you look good. Won't you back that thing up? You's a fine young woman. Won't you back that thing up? Call me Big Daddy when you back that thing up. Girl, who was you playing with? Back that thing up.
This woman and her little boy.
Ooh, got on them Supreme cleans, boy. Oh, them Nauticas. Yeah, them Nauticas. Shout out to them Nauticas. Messing up a whole brand. I know Nautica is ready to sue her for defamation. No calves, all ankles. No calves, all ankles up in that joint. What is wrong with that right leg? No calves, all ankles. Coming to a city near you, boy. Yeah, listen, fellas, passport bros. You ain't got to get your passport. You ain't got to go nowhere. I know a chick that got on some Nautica Supremes. No calves, all ankles, boy. No calves, no ankles. I mean, all ankles. That's a fact, though. Listen, no knee should be that close to their ankles. What is happening right here? What? Okay, cameraman. I gotta bring the cameraman to the front of the congregation. Why is the cameraman recording the feet? And why ain't no shoestrings on them shoes? Come on, man.
Boy came to the United States seeking asylum. They're currently living in emergency housing set up by the city.
In Brooklyn.
She says when asked how long she can stay or where she will go next,
No sé.
I don't know, she said.
Don't even speak English. Don't even speak English, man. What is going on out in these streets?
She is one of many uncertain about the future living in New York City, a sanctuary city that hasn't turned any.
And hold on. Homie over there, he got a fresh cut too. Let me blow that up a little bit. They got a whole family, got a fresh cut, got on DKNY. DKNY used to be the stuff back in high school. DKNY used to be the stuff back in high school. I'm just saying. DKNY used to be the stuff back in high school. Got new backpacks, new hoodies.
A sanctuary city that hasn't turned any of the asylum seekers away. Today, more evidence of the pushback from some local New Yorkers. Protesters in the streets over talks of former Manhattan College dorm located in the Bronx, specifically in Riverdale, might soon be turned into another emergency.
I was looking to do a shopping trip up to New York next weekend. Looks like I'm going to have to cancel it. Looks like I'm going to have to cancel my shopping trip over to New York. I genuinely wanted to just like take a day. You know how you take a day trip. One of the things that me and Kevin Samuels used to do occasionally, he would hit me up and say, Anton, I want to hit the watch store over in New York. You coming through? And I'd be like, nah, Kev, I got a kid. Oh, yeah, I forgot. You do. You are married with a kid. And then sometimes I will be able to sneak away. All right, listen. Hey, Rita, I'm going to go down to work today. Then I'll be gone all day because I just jumped on a flight and me and Kev is over there watch shopping. Shout out and rest in peace to my dog, Kev. But it looks like I'm not going to be able to go to New York because the Bronx is inundated with people that are protesting against what Eric Adams is doing, and they're the ones that voted him in. Real talk.
Emergency shelter for migrants. Fox 5 News reached out to officials to confirm no response yet.
I don't know what's going on, but I know this is wrong. They're bringing migrants in that haven't been vetted, and we have families all around here.
Don't worry about it. You're going to be replaced. 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 You don't have to worry about it, family. You're going to be replaced. Let's see what this woman has to say.
Anti-protesters speaking up too.
Migrants have done nothing to anybody. They deserve to have a place to live. Anywhere. Here is great. Anywhere is fine.
Homeless rights attorney with...
It's always a young woman. Always a young woman that is going to determine... Don't y'all know that a woman is going to be president sooner than later? I know y'all don't believe it because you only see the presidential field this year. I'm telling you, listen. This type of woman is going places. She's going to be in Congress. She's going to be mobilizing things. She's going to be taking care of business. She's advocating for migrants to come into the country, undocumented, unchecked, and they deserve a place to live just like everybody else. We have a homelessness crisis in the United States of America. That is a fact. How can you help somebody else and you can't even help yourself yet? Well, I'll tell you, because we're not trying to help the people here. We're trying, listen, the most important and the most popping, you know what one of the most popping segments on YouTube is? A lot of y'all not even familiar because you haven't even been up on it. I've been studying this stuff for years. The most popping part on YouTube and Facebook is van life. I seen a clip, I almost reviewed it, but I was just like, I just can't do it. I seen a clip, I almost reviewed it, and it's a woman with her small child. She's a single baby mama. She's a black woman, and she's recently adopted van life, and they sleeping outside of Walmart, and they go in there and they make sure that they wash their hands and their faces, and they brush their teeth in the morning, and they cook the eggs on the George Foreman grill when they wake up in the morning. Look just like one of them vans that they be taking people in. Just like the Liam Neeson van. Van life is the most popping thing on YouTube. If you want to get a channel started, take a kind of considerate, even if you're not really living in a van, act like you're living in a van, do van life. You know how they be doing? No toilet paper, out there in the woods. Walmart is closed that night. I know me personally, I have to use the restroom when I get up in the middle of the night sometimes. I personally have to use the restroom when I get up in the middle of the night. Most Walmarts all across the nation. Now, I didn't say that they were in a camper, that they were in a van with no toilet tissue, none of that. And so I know that after the pandemic and everybody started stealing, that Walmarts across the nation, Target, y'all can call it if that's what y'all want to. I call it Target. Look just like a Target at the top of that thing. I personally have to use the restroom in the middle of the night. That's just me, right? That's just me personally. And I'm looking at van life and I said, okay, so y'all sleeping at all of the times in the night. So who's over there? Who's cleaning up in the woods right next to where you was parked? Y'all be surprised what these women do when y'all not around them. I know y'all keep on linking up with these women and you going over to their crib and you think that, you know what I'm saying, she just saw cute and she just do a little bit of a poo. Man, when you're not around, it's a fact though. It's a fact though. Van life is one of the most popping spaces on the internet today. On the internet today. That's a fact. You know how congested it is inside of that van if somebody let one out? We have a homelessness crisis in the United States of America. We have a homelessness crisis in the United States of America. And this is the sentiment from the people that is advocating on behalf of the people that is coming in this country. If you don't think that this is tied to the money, I don't know what else to tell you.
Anywhere is fine.
Homeless rights attorney with the Legal Aid Society, Stephanie Rudolph, weighs in.
New York City has had a right to shelter since the 70s due to litigation. And that litigation interpreted the state constitution to say that everybody should have a bed to sleep in every night, no matter what. And our city, state, and federal laws prohibit discrimination on the basis of one's immigration status.
City officials have said the resources are thin again and again, asking the feds and the state for more assistance.
Prior to this migrant crisis, where so many new people are coming to New York City.
Don't y'all realize that everybody that's speaking on y'all behalf as far as advocating for it, they all look the same. They don't even have no clue of what's really happening. They have no understanding of what the heck is happening out here in these streets. I'm going to read the super chat shortly. Give me a second. They have no clue of what is really happening out here in these streets, but they're the same ones that's advocating all across America of what the government should do and what you should do with your own tax dollars in order to support people, and you can't even support yourselves.
There were over 50,000 people in shelter, but because of how many people have passed through New York or come to New York, that number has more than doubled. And the city has created 2 parallel shelter systems.
Meantime, the mayor just added a policy for adult migrants living in emergency shelters. It's a 30-day maximum now in any given shelter. The mayor said in a statement, it's another step in our efforts to help asylum seekers take the next step in their journeys.
And what do you think that they're going to do and where you think that they're going to go? After 30 days, because really the play is this. He's trying to convince Biden in order to continue to legalize migrants and then give them a work permit so that they can go out and take care of some of the jobs and some of the things that's going on in our society, which then, in my opinion, also levels the playing field from what the South has enjoyed for a long time. Well, I'm speaking about it from a capitalist perspective, obviously. From the South of what they've been enjoying for a long time in order for them to continue to build up the spaces that y'all like to visit. See, when you look at it from a capitalistic perspective, it gives a whole new meaning because the rich get richer as a result of it. Listen, this is all a game. This is all a part of the playbook. This is capitalism 101. How do you think that this country was built? If you had to take a guess. If you've been living under a rock for the last 100 million years, how do you think that this country was built? All of the most powerful, greatest destinations that people like to go and visit on a regular basis. Take your pick. Take your pick. Pick any city. Pick Dubai. How do you think that the majority of where these places are built? You think that everybody was getting a fair wage? You think that everybody was just making it happen, making sure that we all take care of each other? There's always an underclass. There's always going to be a backbone. There's always going to be somebody or something that is incentivized and financed in order to continue to keep the train moving. But you thought that this country was built off of equal and fair for all, justice and liberty, kumbaya. You didn't think that they needed another. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Let me read some of these super chats since we all living under a rock. Don't worry about it. We gonna get there. You keep fighting for reparations. We gonna see how that play out for you. I told you wasn't getting nothing. I told you wasn't gonna get no student loans forgiveness. You ain't getting nothing. You not getting no reparations. You not getting no student loan forgiveness. You ain't getting nothing. You ain't got to worry about it. We gonna fix you by getting another you that do it faster, cheaper, better, and at a more efficient cost. And they're going to be better at the job than you are. They're going to do it faster. They're going to be doing it quicker, cheaper, and they're going to be happy as a result of it. They're going to be happy. They're going to be so happy. Marcus X says, Oakland now has 10,500 GTL in a year. Broke a record for... okay, y'all going to have to help me out here. I'm a C student. I don't know how to read some of the stuff that y'all are writing. You have to write it in regular sentences. Got to write it in regular sentences, fam. Oak has 10,500 GTA on the year. Broke record for our M06. I have no clue what the fuck I'm reading, but I absolutely agree with you, Marcus X, and thank you for the super chat. Thank you, my friend. DK says, Snow Dogs represent. Shout out to all of my Snow Dogs. Those are older white men. Snow puppies are younger white men. Snow dogs are older white men. Snow bunnies are younger white women. Snow hares are older white women. All right. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, my friend. DK is in the building. SS29 says it's out of control in these city streets. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Millennial Galore. Shout out to Millennial Galore in the building looking pretty. Says, I'm in New York. Had a grown man barely speaking English approach me in the grocery store begging for money and followed me to my car. Oh, my God. We got to protect black women. We got to protect our black women. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. We have to protect our black queens. Shout out to Millennial Galore. I appreciate you for the Fat Ball Super Chat. Shout out to Purple Haze. Says, don't forget the Bears getting dog walked by Kansas City. Didn't the Lions beat up on Kansas City in week 1? And then the Bears got dog walked? I don't even know how y'all continue to do it. But listen, We went through the same thing over here in Detroit with the Lions for years. It's our turn now. You know what I'm saying? Dos Ex Machito says it's going to be Henry Ford all over again, hiring black people as a form of strike busting. I appreciate you. Thank you. Why y'all want to take away my mouse? I love my mouse. Mr. Maximus says, how many migrants? Because there's 400,000 unfulfilled jobs. No, there's way more than that. There's way more than that. And there, listen, do you know how long it takes me to find the contractors that I need in order to get certain things done? I ain't got to wait no more. I's free now. Mary Mo says, hi, Anton. I swear your laugh is so contagious. Thank you for bringing out a good laugh while I take care of my business. Shout out to Mary Mo in the building. I appreciate you, Mary Mo. I want some more. AZ Bay says the health of the state is live births, not a replacement theory, but replacement facts. People are being replaced. Shout out to Big Truck Series Review. I love his channel. I love Big Truck Series Review. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Enforcer 2K9 says, make this make sense. If a homeless person pitches a tent somewhere, you legally can't move them, but if you don't pay my rent, I have to leave. Absolutely. 100%. Shout out to Enforcer 2K9. And then let me get my dog. My name is Corey in the building. Says, nah, Anton, our people deserve those reparations. In the meantime, I'll continue to run it up on the stocks and the Forex market. Stay out of that Forex shit. I know I wasn't supposed to be cussing because we be having this on the church TVs and we be having this in the daycare centers, but you stay out of that Forex. I know y'all think y'all got it. I know y'all think y'all can do it, but I'm telling you, 99 out of 100 times that Forex is going to have you getting your butt kicked. A. B, you wait on them reparations and let's see what happens. Let's see if Biden give it to you. If it ain't Biden, it's going to be Kamala, right? Shout out to Cam. My dog, my name is Corey, is with the super chat. I rock with you, my family. Thank you, my friend. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. The likes is egregiously low. Please don't make me go over to the teach. Please don't make me go over to the teach. Listen, we got more to cover. There's some things that I want to go over today, all right? I told y'all that it was going to be a different type of show today. So make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to all of my stuff that's down in the description. And then go over and check out the Anton Daniels channel because we're going to be live streaming tonight for the Q. Hey Q, the Hey Q show, all right? Hey Q show. All right. Let's get into it. Now, shout out to Cam. Chris Moore, I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. While y'all was sitting there watching the Lions beat up on the Falcons, watching the Bears get dog walked by Kansas City, running up the numbers, no sportsmanship anymore. I love it. I like it that way. While Super Bowl Sunday and Colorado and Oregon and all of the college places was out and about, over the last several months, every single time, every single year, we have this same conversation over and over. And you see the same talking points. Oh, the Democrats, they want to keep social services and they don't want to turn off the faucet. And the Republicans, they are being irresponsible and we need to get this done and work across both sides of the aisle. How many times are y'all going to fall for the okie doke, the ooh-wop shebang? Just curious. Did you know that it's another... People are so used to government shutdowns and for them to every single year going through a government shutdown that we don't even look surprised no more. Do y'all know that we have been PTSD'd into being cool with the idea that there's going to be another government shutdown? Like, we don't even trip about it. Government shutdown. We don't need no military. Throw away the key. Lock us up. Our correction officers don't necessarily need any kind of pay for their services. Government workers, contractors, don't worry about it. Military members, no worries. Every single year we go through the same and the same and the same and the same thing. Congress, legislators, state representatives, budget shutdown. We don't even care no more. Lock us up, throw away the key.
You're looking at a live U.S. Capitol pic as the U.S. government teeters on the brink of a shutdown this week. Congress remains at an impasse on a funding deal with just 6 days to go. As Rob Kirkpatrick explains, federal departments and agencies have begun the mandatory process of bringing non-essential functions to a halt.
The clock is ticking on Congress to pass a deal that will fund the government. But with less than a week to go, there's still no deal in sight to avert a shutdown. During a call with the Republican conference Saturday afternoon, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy pushed members to rally behind a short-term spending bill.
I think we've made some progress to those who have been holding up passing the rule to get onto these bills.
President Joe Biden weighed in on the quickly approaching shutdown deadline over the weekend, calling on...
Let me guess what he's going to say. Something along the lines of, we need to get Republicans to come back to the table in order to make sure that we get this spending bill for the American people. We need to be responsible. Let's find out.
House Republicans to, quote, start doing the job.
Funding the government is one of those basic responsibilities of Congress. And it's time for Republicans to start doing.
What did he just say? Hey, man, somebody get these geezers out of office, man. They don't even know how to communicate effectively. Hey, man, I don't want nobody in office that's slurring their words, bro. Oh, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Who we got running the government out here in these streets, man? What you doing in there, man? Stop it, man. Hold on. Let me rewind this. I wasn't expecting that.
Congress. And it's time for Republicans to...
What is Robberies? Who the hell is Robberies? Who is Robberies? Y'all know him? I ain't never heard of who is Robberies. Who is Robberies? Who is Theophilus? Is that what he said? It's time for Theophilus. Who the hell is that? What is going on in our Hold on.
The weekend, calling on House Republicans to, quote, start doing the job.
Funding the government is one of those basic...
Do he got teeth? Is Biden's teeth his? Yeah. Front of the government. Who the hell is Theophilus?
Funding the government is one of those basic responsibilities of Congress. And it's time for Republicans.
Who is Theophilus? Am I the only person? Richard said, you don't know who Theophilus is? Biden apparently know. I don't know who Theophilus is. Let's not focus on the messenger. Let's focus on what he's communicating from the teleprompter. Let's not focus on the messenger. Let's focus on what he's communicating from what was written for him on the teleprompter. Okay, family? Let's focus, y'all.
Basic responsibilities of Congress. And it's time for Republicans to start doing the job America elected them to do.
Should Congress fail to pass...
Did he not say what I said? It was around that. I was a little off. But he pretty much said what it is that I said that he was going to say.
Pass a short-term spending bill to keep the proverbial lights on, a shutdown could have enormous impacts on all Americans, which both sides agree would be harmful.
We're going to make sure that we can get a vote done, and that means getting the support of both sides to the table. We're going to do what...
Yo, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. All of these guys, the Democrats, the Republicans, they all sound just like Manchurian candidates. They all sound just like the Manchurian candidate. They look the same. They wear the same haircuts. They wear the same shirts, the same ties. They all go to the same cafes over in Washington, D.C. They all rich. They all have grandkids that's going to inherit an incredible amount of wealth. They all have some kind of incentive in order to continue to do the thing that's in their own best interest. And they're all going to continue to get reelected into the same office over and over again by the people that keep voting for them every single election cycle. They all look the same. Listen, they all say the same thing. They all look the same.
We're going to make sure that we can get a vote done, and that means getting us the support of both sides to the table.
We're going to do whatever we need to do our job to keep the government open, because our district, and Josh's as well, our district wants us to keep America running.
But that path has proved difficult. A number of GOP hardliners are opposed to any short-term spending solution. Their Republican colleagues drawing a line, calling out those responsible for the failed negotiations.
The arsonists have lit their house on fire. They're whining about their house burning. They're going to want credit for putting the fire out, and then they're going to set up a GoFundMe to get paid for what happened.
That is probably the most sensible thing that I've heard any legislator say, and he don't have on a stupid suit and tie. Let's break that down one more time, because I wasn't expecting for that to happen. I was expecting to hear some guy with decent hair and a suit and tie on say something like, we need to get it done because the constituents need their paychecks. That was the most sensible thing that I've heard anybody say, and I've never even seen that guy before a day in my life.
Negotiations.
The arsonists have lit their house on fire. They're whining about their house burning. They're going to want credit for putting the fire out, and then they're going to set up a GoFundMe to get paid.
That sounds like modern women. That literally sounds like modern women. You set your house on fire. Then you're going to complain about your house being on fire. Then you're going to want credit for it being put out by somebody else. And then you're going to set up a GoFundMe in order for people to continue to fix it. Oh, my God. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? I need to know who this guy is. Garrett Graves, Republican in Louisiana. Somebody get this guy on my radar. I need to see some videos from him so we can review him and see if he's making sense or if he's saying something else that's going to tickle our ears and have us vote in a certain type of way in order to continue to go down this same path. I'm taking that. I guarantee you on the live stream tonight, I'm going to say it. And you know what? I'm so tired of these women. You know what y'all like to do? You think that you could just light your house on fire. And then you want to come over to us black men and complaining that your house is on fire. And then when we put it out, you're going to want credit for participating and tapping us on the back and making sure that we put your house out on fire. And then you're going to set up a GoFundMe on top of the insurance in order to make sure that these black men continue to throw themselves under a bus in order to make sure that you're taken care of. Tell me that I'm going to refine it. I'm going to refine it. By the time I get on the show tonight, it's going to be a completely different speech. I promise you, it's going to be fire, though. It's going to be fire, though. Listen, this dude just threw me an alley-oop pass like I've never seen before. Through the legs, behind the back, Magic Johnson. And then we're going to get Michael Jordan to come over here and dunk it. Oh, my God. Make sure y'all tune into the live stream tonight. But let's go back into this because I want y'all to really understand what a government shutdown means, okay?
The threat of a government shutdown may sound so routine, it's easy to forget what that actually involves. Here's a refresher. First off, Congress needs to pass 12 appropriation bills annually to give government agencies a budget for the coming fiscal year.
So, let's break this down. Let's look at exactly what it is that they need to focus on from a budgetary perspective. Because even though we're entertaining, we want this to be educational, and we all know that it comes back down to the money. All right? So, energy, agriculture. Okay, pretty straightforward. Legislative branch. They got to get paid. They got to make sure that they keep things running. They want to have all of their assistants and all of their people. You know what I'm saying? Commerce, defense. Defense is one of the biggest things. Biggest things. It's a part of the biggest part of the budget. Defense means your military, right? All of the Secret Service agents, the whole thing, right? General government finance, Homeland Security. Remember when Homeland Security used to just be a talking point after 9/11? Now Homeland Security is a whole nother part of the budget that we got to make sure that we spend billions and trillions of dollars on every single year. I ain't going to talk about it. Labor, health, education, and human services. That's government handouts. EBT, right? You got to make sure that you get your public housing, Section 8. You got to get these women their stuff, public transportation, health care that we know that you're going to go to the doctor and not going to pay your bills for. All of that stuff, right? Military construction, and Veteran Affairs, Transport and Housing. Pretty straightforward. State Department. Now, I don't understand why State Department and legislative branch is not the same thing. And then Interior. Let's continue.
If some of those bills pass, but others don't, by the deadline, the government enters a partial shutdown. If all 12 appropriations bills aren't passed, the country goes into a full shutdown. And with any shutdown, expect disruptions. Federal workers are furloughed. Congress members, the president, and Supreme Court justices will continue to receive a paycheck, but many of their staff members will report to work without pay.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So the people at the top of the food chain, judges, all of these people, you going to get your pay on time. Everybody else, you going to get laid off. Some people, they're going to be doing the job, and then they just going to be like, listen, once we get that government spending bill passed, we going to get you on the back end, big dog. And so they're going to make sure that they get them on back pay and then refund them whatever it is that they were supposed to be funding while they was over there needing that bread and that cheese in order to feed their families. So I'm breaking it down from you from a simple perspective.
Medicare,
right?
Medicaid, Social Security, and SNAP benefits continue, but paperwork and applications to receive services are stalled.
So that means you still gonna get your EBTs, man. Even though we ain't got no money, even though we don't know where it's gonna come from, even though we don't know what the budget is, even though we still at the negotiating table, we got to get her EBT so she can come out here and sell it for half the price. Hey, listen, I'll give you $300 worth of groceries for $150. When you see that twinkle in her eye, and you know she a little bit more desperate than usual, nah, fam, I only got $100. I could probably call my cousin and get $15 more. I'll give you $115, but if you got it, I need my $300 right now. And she gonna be like, she gonna be feeling certain. Listen, I'm from the hood. I know how it work. I could get you $300 worth of groceries for $150. Man, I only got $100. I could probably scrape up $115. Man, I'm not about to be bothered because I don't need this anyway. I'm straight. I wasn't even coming over here to get no groceries in the first place. Okay. Now I don't even want it no more. This is how you play it. No, I'm straight, man, because I don't even want it no more. Like I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I really don't even have time to be playing this. You gonna do me like that? You gonna have to come out of something a little more than that, though, for real, because I know you in the bind. I'm in the bind, Nate. I tell you what, I give you $150. Come out of the house a little later on today. Come out of the crib, man. I give you $100 now, I give you the other $50 when you come back by the crib. Cool? No, don't bring your boyfriend with you and keep them little kids. Drop them little kids over at grandma's house. Cool? That's how they do y'all. No, you not out there spending your government benefits over here in order to get some food, in order to feed little man and Ray over them so that they can grow up nice and healthy and strong and be over here stealing our hubcaps. You're not over there spending money to make sure that they nourished and that they're not in school when they stomachs is not going. Teacher over there can't even teach because you look up every time you look up, he tired because his stomach keep growling because you sold all of the benefits over into Nate because Nate recognized you was in the bind and he knew that you was going to be standing out there. So he just so happened to drive up in his Cadillac. What's going on? Hey man, I'll see y'all later. I'm out of here. Hey Nate, you want $300 worth of groceries? Man, I don't even need no groceries. What you talking about? I'm a single man. I don't even need no groceries. I give you $150. Nah, fam, I'm good. Next thing you know, you got to go by the house a little later on that day, drop little man off at grandma's house. Man know where you going, and he going to grow up scarred. Don't get mad at me. I'm telling you what happens in the hood every single day. I'm telling you what happens every pay period. Government shutdown. Y'all trying to mess up the benefits, man. You messing up the benefits. You messing up the play. That's why Nate is over here watching the government shutdown. You think he care? He ain't even got no government job. He ain't thinking about that. He trying to figure out when her government food stamps is coming, so he can negotiate a little bit harder. Now I know you in the bind, and you on an advance. Shh. Let's continue to figure out what's happening in the. I'm a C student. I know that y'all want me to sit here and break down the government shutdown off of the technical aspect of it, and oh no, and government services and the military members and all of these people and the workers. No, I'm going to tell you what's really happening in the streets, man. I'm going to tell you what's happening in the streets, man. When the government is shut down, everybody suffer. Nate suffer. She suffers. If you want to end hunger, then solve and pass the budget. Pass the budget so that they can go and get their food. Now she's selling it at an extreme discount. Now y'all fasting. And it ain't even intermittent fasting. You fasting because you ain't.
Passport processing, food inspection programs, and small business loans also see delays. And travel can be affected. National park visitor centers close and the grounds may operate without staff. And in 2019, airports experienced slowdowns as hundreds of TSA and air traffic control workers called off after weeks of not being paid.
Now it affects your travel. Now it affects your food inspections. Small business loans, SBAs is being delayed. Everybody gets affected because the very people that you elected to do their job has been unable. They started negotiating at the end of the time. Now they wait all the way over to the deadline. And the people are the ones that suffer as a result of it. But I guarantee you that they still going to get their paychecks.
Paid. Shutdowns can have large-scale ripple effects depending on how long they last. During the 35-day shutdown in 2019, America's GDP took a hit. Experts warn that a shutdown now could be especially harmful given the timing.
One thing to keep in mind is that this isn't happening in a vacuum. It happens when we have a spreading strike of UAW workers, and we have a lot of people who are being asked to start paying student loans who have been able to go without paying student loans.
So basically what he's telling you from a C student's perspective, let me break it down for you. He's breaking it down to you from this perspective, okay? It's all strategic. Student loans is starting back up. UAW is striking. People and inflation is at an all-time high. Immigration is coming into the country. Border Patrol agents, we need more and more than ever. Tent city, government services, contractors. Everybody is at risk as long as you continue to stick around at the negotiating table and not come to a conclusion that is in the best interest of the people. And so they use you as a bargaining chip in order to get more on their side, and they're willing to let the government shut down in the same way that they're willing to let UAW members strike when they don't feel like they have a deal. You're nothing more than a bargaining chip. You're nothing more. You, because they're not going to stop taking taxes out of your paycheck. See, the government don't shut down when it comes to collect. It only shut down when it's time to distribute. The government don't shut down when it's time to collect. It only shuts down when it's time to distribute. You are nothing more than a bargaining chip. When you pick who it is that you're going to have coming into these legislative branches, essentially you're picking who's going to be the person that's going to use you as a bargaining chip and how much a value is really worth to them.
For some time. So we could be hitting the economy with three things, none of which is really bad, but three things put together could begin to have a punch.
Let me read some of these super chats. There's no need in beating a dead horse. I'm pretty sure that y'all got it. Y'all got it. You got it. Chris Moore is in the building. Shout out to Chris Moore. Says, I'm going to just drop this 2-ball into the collection plate. Thank you, my friend Chris Moore. You are absolutely awesome. Sincerely, Jonika. What up, Jonika? Says, what are the benefits that these Democrats believe will come from migrants other than votes? Well, I don't think that it's entirely up to them. I think that there's other people and other things that are in place that is now incentivizing them in order to continue to do these type of things. I'll give you an example. When you seen the pandemic and everything started to happen, you seen states start to splinter because we realized that governors, right, and a lot of us are not holding governors accountable. Don't worry, I'm going to bring them to the front of the congregation. Nobody goes unscathed. Nobody. We see what is happening with Eric Adams. We see what is happening over there in Brandon Johnson, but it's also a governor attached to that too. But what happens is these cities and these states start to splinter, and you've seen certain states operate a certain way and other states operate another way, right? But I believe personally, and this is not something that I can substantiate, I can only draw conclusions based off of what it is that I've seen happening. I went over and I lived in Florida for the next 4 months during the wintertime in order to see what the differences are, right? What I believe is they're using and they're leveraging government and power. Power is the most important thing. It's not money. It's not fame. It's power, right? They're leveraging the power of being able to control what happens within our government system in order to incentivize for certain things to happen. I believe that's what happened with certain states when it came to our presidential election last year, and it just so happened to come during the time of the pandemic. I'm going to just leave it there. I don't want to deep dive too much more into it. But I will say that lobbyists, the chain of command going up, the bullpen, a lot of different things, in my personal opinion, is affecting what it is that you're going to have to suffer through as a result of voting a specific way. It just is what it is. Shout out to Sincerely Jonika. That is a great comment. I appreciate you. Twisted Pup TV says, good morning, Anton. You know they robbed the Bears for $100,000. And they lost. I heard that they had robbed them for like a whole bunch of equipment. Somebody said that they had robbed them for like $100,000 worth of equipment. I had seen something like that pop up on my timeline. Thank you. I appreciate you for the for the 5 ball, my friend. I appreciate that. K7XC with the 1 ball. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. Greatness to Work says, hey, Anton. They also just announced that during the shutdown of the government, they will make sure payments are given to Ukrainians. Man, the more I know, the more I don't even want to know. K7XC says, federal employee here about to sit at home and collect his back pay for free. It's cool for me because I got savings, but it hurts those that don't. Never be interdependent on the government in order for you to continue to maintain your lifestyle. That's the lesson that I got from that one. Omni, my guy, says, folks, get the Crypt Keeper out of here, please. Shout out to my dog Omni. Was on Fight Club, kicking it last night. I appreciate you. The B says, government may shut down. However, U.S. military is still going to get that bag. How do I know? I've already experienced it. Also specialize in finance analytics. Shout out to you, my friend, and keep getting that bag and take advantage of it. My dog, Marcus X, says, Oakland reported over 10,500 grand theft autos on the year, already breaking their record from 2006. More stolen cars than break-ins reported. You see how you changed that sentence and it made way more sense now? Thank you, my dog, Marcus X, and thank you for the insight and information. I appreciate you. Messy, messy, messy. Messy, messy, messy. Says, much love, Anton, but not too much on the Bears because a measly 2 years, the Lions lost 12 games in a row with new uniforms. Hashtag never forget. We got short memories over here in Detroit. We only focus on what's going forward, not the things that's behind us. Shout out to Messy Mathematician in the building. I appreciate you. We not going to let y'all escape from that molly-whopping that y'all just got, Messy. We not going to let you escape from the molly-whopping. It's your turn. It's your turn. Let's switch over into something that I like to focus on and the things that I've been paying attention to. Everybody else it seemed like they just now catching up. We've been talking about this for months. How long have we been talking about the potential UAW strikes? Months now, right? Way before it happened, I already predicted everything that was going to play out. I told y'all that Sean Fain, the UAW president, was going to be playing hardball, right? I've even laid off of it for a couple of sessions in order to see what was going to happen because I didn't even want to continue to report on it every day because it was more the same. But you know what's been happening? They've been rolling out strikes slowly but surely to all of the other plants. When they started off with just 3, now they're rolling it out to every single city, and there's a residual effect that come along with it. Make sure y'all get a likes up. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's see what's happening. I'm going to bring y'all up to speed on what's happening. And I also want to get Patrick Bet-David's take on what's going on with the UAW auto strike.
Both President Biden and former President Trump will travel to Michigan this week in support of UAW union members whose strike against the big three automakers now is in its second week. NBC's Jesse Kirsch is outside a General Motors plant in Pontiac, Michigan. Jesse, good morning. What's the latest there?
Willie, good morning. Still no word on
Fashion, women, and sports. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Thank you, my friend.
deals, but from its last update, the UAW made clear that Ford appears to be leading the pack. The union saying it has made, quote, real progress with Ford on issues including the right to strike over plant closures and cost of living adjustments. Conversely, the UAW calling out GM and Stellantis for a lack of progress. And so now the union has specifically against those two companies expanded its strike to all parts distribution facilities across the country. What does that mean?
That's crazy. You know, to think that an organization of workers have the type of power to say, we don't really like the progress that we're making with y'all, and we're going to be able to expand this strike across all of your distribution centers, and we're going to cripple your company. I just can't fathom it. I can't fathom being a shareholder of a company that's being taken hostage by the workers. Whew. I just can't. It just doesn't resonate with me. Shout out to King, Coach King Rod. I appreciate you. I'm definitely going to be reading that super chat shortly. Thank you, my friend. I just can't fathom it. Also, what's really interesting is that if you look at the different CEOs, Ford CEO and Stellantis CEO are both men, but GM, which is largely being considered the toughest of the three, is being ran by Mary Barra. And Elon Musk is just laughing all the way to the bank. I increased my position in Tesla today. I scheduled it ahead of time. January Man says UAW is going to win, Anton, like it or not. Are they? Do you really consider it a win? I'll break it down for you. Don't worry. Let's continue to read what's going on.
For you at home. If you need to get your car fixed, it could take longer to get a repair depending on what parts you need. One dealership group telling me, for example, that an engine could be harder to come by as long as a strike drags on at parts distribution facilities. We've heard from both GM and Stellantis. I'm going to read you portions of their statements. GM accusing union leadership of manipulating the bargaining process for their own personal agendas. Stellantis writing, we question whether the union's leadership has ever had an interest in reaching an agreement in a timely manner. Ford saying there is more work to be done. And all of this comes as President Biden, who claims to be the most pro-union president, is set to walk the picket line, join the picket line in Michigan on Tuesday. And then just...
And I don't, listen, when it comes to politics, it's all a finesse. All politics is a sales. That's all it is. He's going to go over there and he's going to walk the picket line. And you know why he's going to go over there and he's going to walk the picket line? Because he wants the UAW and unions to endorse him for president of the United States of America for the upcoming election. I don't believe for one second that Biden is truly, and this is just my opinion, this is not a fact, I don't believe for one second that Biden is truly pro-union. I don't believe that any politician, maybe outside of Bernie Sanders, I give it to Bernie Sanders. Feel the burn. Seeing him at the airport over the past weekend or over the past week. I don't believe that any of these people are pro-union except for maybe a Bernie Sanders. Maybe. But he's going to be out there walking the picket line so that he can get up and receive an endorsement for the UAW. I just honestly believe that's why he's going to be out there.
Hours later, former President Donald Trump is expected to speak to workers in this state. Both candidates clearly reaching out to voters in what could be a crucial battleground come 2024. Willie.
That's some presidential.
Now I want to bring over Patrick Bet-David's take on it because I seen that he decided to drop a video as a result of it. I want to get his perspective. I have not seen his video yet, so haven't had a chance to see his video yet because I believe it dropped this morning. But I'm interested in seeing what Patrick Bet-David has to say about the strike.
It seems like this is a season where everybody's going on a strike. We know what's going on with Writers and Actors Guild. We saw what UPS got, big negotiation.
And before we get into Patrick Bet David, somebody in the chat said the Writers Guild and the movie people, they finally came to an agreement. I was wondering when they was going to come to an agreement or whether they was going to let artificial intelligence and ChatGPT write all of the scripts, because it seemed like they was just out here going broke and they wasn't going nowhere. But we'll get into that in a minute.
And now the union auto workers. 13,000 United Auto Workers went on a strike after their union leaders couldn't bridge a massive gap between themselves and the three top automakers in America. We're talking GM, Ford, and Stellantis, aka Chrysler. A massive gap. Here's what it looks like. GM and Ford offered 20% increase in their salary, and Stellantis offered 17.5%. Guess what the union leaders asked for? No, we want a 36% increase. Studies are showing right now that
actually they had wanted originally 46%, and then they wanted it close to 40%. But obviously they used that as a bargaining chip along with 32-hour work weeks. All right. Here's the caveat. They also wanted 32-hour work weeks, up to 46% pay raises, and they wanted cost of living adjustments, and they wanted bonuses that came with performances of the company, and so many other things. So I'm gonna just give y'all the real insight as he talks about it, because I know he's just going through the cliff notes.
That this could cost the economy billions of dollars every day while they're on a strike, and on top of that, 50,000 jobs. It is a mess, folks, but I think they watch what's going on with the strike with UPS, and they said, hey, maybe we can get paid. We're going to talk about that today. So if you get value out of this.
And that's one of the reasons why, let me add another caveat. One of the reasons why it takes so long for them to start negotiating, and then it comes all the way down into the point to where they have a strike, is because the UAW wanted to see what was going to happen with the Teamsters Union with UPS. Because now they can use that as a bargaining chip, and they can say, well, the drivers with overtime is making close to $170,000 at year 5. In year 4, year 5 of the UPS bargaining agreement, which they not really understanding that you're always going to need delivery services and logistics. This is why competition is good. This is why it's good to not have a monopoly, because when people need something, they can't just automatically pass those costs over to the consumers when they have another option to be able to ship goods and services. So if Amazon is now driving the costs out by now having electric vehicles, for example, and they can also leverage the Amazon Web Services in order to substitute for the cost that's associated with how it is that they're going to deliver packages, and then they can have individual contractors. Listen, let me break it down for you like this, right? UPS bargain, Teamsters bargain on behalf of UPS in order for drivers and other people that work there to continue to get this raise, right? Now, on the other side, Amazon said, we don't even want y'all to be employees, so it's nothing to bargain for. There's no reason for y'all to unionize. We want you to have your own business. You guys are individual contractors that then have an agreement to be able to deliver on behalf of Amazon and use Amazon branded web services and Amazon trucks and Amazon equipment. And we just going to set it all up for you in order for it to be easier for you. But I also just want you to just be an independent contractor. You don't actually work for the company. So if you decide not to do it, we can always find another you, because we just going to get another contractor in here to do the things that you were unwilling to do. And that's why the turnover is so high. Two different business philosophies, also keeping in check the cost of goods and services and shipping, which then increases competition and then drives down the cost of doing business depending on what it is that you're doing from a financial perspective. So Amazon's seen this coming a long time ago. They union busters. They going against the union. As a matter of fact, Amazon has so much turnover in their warehouses that they then are looking for independent contractors. You even see people delivering out of their cars sometimes, or they'll go and rent a U-Haul in order to get the packages in the back of it in order for them to go ahead and deliver their packages. Amazon drives out the cost, the total cost for them to be able to ship goods and services, because now they don't have the total compensation package, not just based off of how much you pay the worker, but healthcare coverage, insurance, benefits. All of that is now passed on over into you as a small business owner that then say, yeah, I'm busting down the bag. I got my own business. Right? This is why competition is good. is because even though you have inflation that is increasing the cost of doing business, you also can drive out costs because it then forces you to be competitive. Conversely, when you see what's happening over here in the UAW, it's completely different, right? Because we always gonna have competition, but because all automakers aren't unionized, it's the same thing that's playing out. The total compensation package that's happening over in Tesla, $45 per vehicle, is much different than $100+ per vehicle that the UAW is seeking, close to $110 per vehicle that it's going to cost them to be able to continue to do business, while people are still having a conversation about what it's going to cost them in order to purchase a vehicle. Price is playing a role and a factor because you're not Porsche, you're not Lamborghini, you're not Ferrari. You can't just demand $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 for a car and then be able to pass that over into the consumer because you don't have the brand recognition of them to be able to raise the prices that much. A Cadillac, a Lincoln ain't going to go for that same amount of money, right? And so then it becomes a problem because now the big three, the big Detroit three, have to compete against other automakers who have all of their plants down south, who refuse to unionize, but it's still incentivized for them to continue to compete against them with price and all of the incentives that go along with it, right? But let me get over to Patrick Bet-David because you know me, I'm passionate about this. I look at everything from a business perspective. These are the things that I research on a regular basis in order to make sure that I'm investing, or I can give you insight on how it is that you're supposed to invest. Make sure you tap into that video on the Patreon are the things that you look for the most. The 8 things that I look for when I'm looking to invest in a company, those are the basic things, and then it's more that needs to be had as far as a conversation with regard to it. But let me continue to hear what Patrick Bet-David has to say.
This video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get right into it. So what's really happening, these 13,000 auto workers go on a strike. The strike began at a General Motors assembly plant in Wentzville, Missouri, a Ford factory in Wayne, Michigan, near Detroit, and a Stellantis Jeep plant in Toledo, Ohio. It is the first time in the union's 88-year history that these 3 different companies were targeted simultaneously. So what are the union's demands? As I told you earlier, they want a 36% wage increase over 4 years. The union is also asking restoration of cost of living pay raises and end to varying tiers of wages for factory jobs. And you ready? On top of that, they want to work only 4 days. They want to work 32 hours a week, but they want to get paid at 40 hours a week is what they're asking for. And by the way, Bernie Sanders just said yesterday, we ought to consider going to a 4-week model. That's what we ought to be thinking about doing. So guess what this
less work, more money, crippling the auto industry itself, hampering competition. Meanwhile, it's a global game. It's not just a game that's happening in the United States of America. Let's continue.
Union is asking for exactly that. And on top of that, the restoration of traditional defined benefit pensions for new hires who now receive only 401k style retirement plans, pension increases for retirees, and other items. So what are the automakers' position? GM and Ford, as I said earlier, offered 20% increase. Stellantis, Jeep, Chrysler offered 17.5% increase. Automakers say they're facing unprecedented demands as they develop and build new electric vehicles while at the same time making gas-powered cars, SUVs, and trucks to pay the bills. They're worried labor costs will rise so much that they'll have to price their cars above those sold by foreign automakers with U.S. factories, which means who's going to be paying a price for that? You, the person.
Have I not been telling y'all this for months? Have I not been literally breaking this down for you guys for months as far as the costs are then going to be passed on to the consumers, which then is going to drive the companies out of business? And they think that they won now, but then they're not going to win when they start to get laid off and then no future work comes over there. Don't y'all realize that the reason why they got rid of cars from being sold from the big 3 largely, or they moved manufacturing over to other countries, including Mexico, is because of the cost of doing business, then drove out the profitability of being able to make cars in the United States of America in the first place. The cost of doing business, the cost of having it manufactured here, then put them at a negative, and they couldn't even manufacture it profitably unless they did it over in another country.
Buying the car. So now, what are the potential impacts of the strike? The strike could push vehicle prices higher and strain on the economy, already bruised by inflation. Also, walkouts may even become a factor in next year's presidential election, testing Joe Biden's commitment because he said, no presidential candidate has ever been more pro-union than me. So this could pressure President Biden to come out and have to defend these union leaders. The strike could also last longer than previous work stoppages, such as a 40-day strike against GM in 2019. You ever wonder why Jamie Dimon, CEO of Chase, has a $900 million art collection? Or Steve Cohen, $1.1 billion art collection. Or Microsoft has nearly $1 billion collection. The company, 5,000 art pieces in 180 different locations worldwide. Why? Because billionaires and millionaires understand one of the ways to hedge against inflation, money being printed, market crash, interest rates is to buy non-duplicatable assets. And one of them is art, fine arts. And that's
okay. I'm sensing a pitch right here. Hold on, let me get over into a completely different thing. All right.
Been happening. Drew Barrymore wanted to bring back her show. She got destroyed by fans. Bill Maher was going to bring back. He got destroyed by fans. Imagine how long these guys haven't been working. That started in May. It's September already. That's a long time. Then you got UPS. Now you got this to be looking at. So we looked at it and said, hey, are numbers for unions, number of members for union increasing, meaning are people wanting more union?
Nope. The union is literally dying, and that's what people don't understand. The union has been dying, and the way in which the union are trying to grow is that they're trying to use and leverage these talks and the fact that, hey, we going over here and we getting all of these deals for union members and so on and so forth. But then other plants and other places are saying, listen, we got job security. We straight over here. We've been living a good life. Our company treats us well. Why would we unionize? So the union is trying to leverage the contracts that they then negotiate or the hardball that they plan with these companies in order to negotiate and say, hey, listen, y'all need to unionize over there and y'all need to unionize over there, because the amount of American workers that are working in unions are dwindling down more and more, and they're getting laid off more and more. The amount of people that they had inside of these plants versus now is a fraction of what it used to be. And so in order for the union to grow and to continue to collect dues, they're going to try to unionize other places, but they haven't been able to do so. So as a result, the union hasn't been able to grow. They increase union dues, but they haven't been able to grow. But that's their strategy, not to continue to increase the jobs here in America, but then to try to unionize other places that don't even want them in there. That's the goal.
In private sector, they want to get away from unions. Here's what the numbers look like if you look at from 1972 till today. 1972, 24.2% of private sector memberships, they had unions. Today, 6%. You know what America's saying? We don't like the union private sector. Keep it in the public, but stay away from it in the private sector. And if you like union, go work for the public sector, not the private sector. Okay, so what is the impact on America? Because when you think about these three automakers, Ford, GM, and Chrysler or Stellantis, what percentage of the cars in America do they produce? 40%. That's why this is a big deal. The strike is expected to lead to production cuts at the big three automakers, which could lead to job losses. The strike is also expected to disrupt the supply chain for the automotive industry, which could lead to higher prices for cars and trucks. Now, here's also why this is bad news. Do you remember during COVID what was going on with used car prices? It's a $20,000 car selling for $38,000. What's going on over here? Because they couldn't find the chips. Do you remember sometimes even used car prices were selling more than new car prices? Some people are selling their cars. Look at the chart right here. This is what it tells us on what's happened with used car prices from 1960 to today. Okay, if you look at the chart to the top right, that's during COVID. It's not as if prices are already skyrocketing. Every other article you read, what is the average car payment? It's the most it's ever been in history in America. On top of that, add the strike with a 36% demand that they're asking for, not realizing who's going to pay the price for it. The consumer, you. So now, who is UAW? Who is the United Auto Workers? It's a union that was founded.
All right, we know all about this. Basically, Patrick Bet-David seems to be in a space to where he is not necessarily for unions, and he's basically breaking down the idea that the cost is going to be passed over into the consumer. And you guys need to be very, very careful what you ask for, because if you're not just asking for what's in the best interest of both you and the company, during a negotiation process, the best way to solve for it is always to ask the question of, how can you both benefit, right? If somebody comes to me and they say, Anton, I want to do business with you, or Anton, I want to promote on your show, or Anton, I want you to come on my platform, or Anton, I want you to do this, I always say, okay, well, let me see how I can add value into you first, because I'm looking to build a relationship and not necessarily just do business one time, right? If this can't be beneficial to both you and me, and if it's just becoming a money grab for me, then it's going to be a short-term, short-lived idea. And so I would rather you come back to me with something that's going to be conducive for both of us, instead of me just pitching you one time and it be the end of that conversation, right? And so that's the approach that I believe that the union should have took, not the hardball approach, because I think that long-term, long after Sean Fain gets out of office, out of UAW presidency, is going to be a residual effect that is going to negatively affect the union across the board. That's just my personal opinion. Shout out to Patrick Bet David for his take. Let me read a couple of super chats and then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Food fashion, women's sports says, Anton, thanks for the insight. I got 6.5 classes left in the DPU. I'm in Ohio now, but I will be moving very safe. Shout out to you, my friend. Continue to run it up. Coach King Rod says, putting into the collection plate to Anton, to Don. I also sent you an email earlier today to appreciate all that you do. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate you, big dog, my friend. Absolutely helpful. And shout out to all of the bag chasers, the Patreon members, and everybody that continue to run it up. Make sure that you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I want to give you some final thoughts. Something to take with you, hopefully that helps you to become more successful. We got well over 2,400 people in here. The likes seem to be up, so we rocking with that. I appreciate you, and this incentivizes me. It makes me feel good about giving you the game and an insight for free. I give you guys the game and an insight for free. I tell y'all to tap into the Patreon. We got a meetup coming in DC. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon and write on that post that I put whether or not you're going to be there or not. It is free for Patreon members because I need to get a gauge on how many people are going to be appearing so that I can understand how to create the best environment for you. Plus, we got the Investing Yourself series where I'm going to be pouring money into your businesses with no kind of your stake in your business. Is just a grant. Me saying thank you and rocking out with my Patreon members. It's 3 types of workers, specifically as it relates to the jobs that you do. There's 3 types of workers. Now, I'm not talking about the job that you do in particular, because I always want to champion the people that's doing it positively, the people that's doing it legally. If you going out there and you hustling and you grinding every single day, hats off to you. Let me salute to you. But I also want you to understand that there's a bigger pie and a bigger slice that you're supposed to get as a part of it. But if you're not intentional and you're not focused, you're going to miss the boat. You're going to miss your opportunity. You're going to miss the play. And it's really 3 types of workers, okay? You got the workers who don't have any choice, and so as a result, they work and they live to work. They don't work to live. They live to work and they don't work to live. These are the people that have no choice whatsoever, right? Most of us in America, we either fall in the category 1 or 2. Category 1 or 2. 98, 99% of the population falls in the category 1 or 2, right? And so whether or not you have a business or whether or not you work for a corporation, you still have a job because you have somebody to answer to, and you have to go out and do something for somebody in order to get a return or on your investment, whether that be trading in your time or trading in your resources, your mindset, consulting, whatever it is that you do. You are going to be trading in something in order to continue to get money so that you can feed your family, get healthcare coverage, maintain your lifestyle, whatever it is, right? But it's really only 3 types of workers. And those 3 types of workers are based on your mindset, right? Because some people, the first type of worker, they get into it, but they never excel as a result of it. Those are the people, and again, I have nothing against you, but I just want to educate you on the mindset behind people that are successful and people that stay in the same place for the rest of their life. Those are the people that's going to always just be looking for a job. They are always going to be in survival mode. They do it because they have to. They don't necessarily want to. If they had the opportunity to be able to sit at the crib and chill for the rest of their life, they would. Often at time, a lot of these people look to retire early. They look to get Social Security early, right? They can't wait to try to go on some kind of benefit. Most of the time, they lazy, right? They'll do just the minimum in order to make sure that they keep a roof over their head based off of societal standards or norms. In a lot of instances, these type of workers, they take shortcuts, right? They always looking for a come up. They have no incentive and no kind of desire to do anything more than what they currently doing. And they may go from job to job, or they may job hop, but they're never going to actually do anything more than what they're required to do in order to continue to survive. Sometimes these people live with their parents for the rest of their lives, right? And they come in all forms and shapes and sizes, all colors, It's not even as a result of anything other than pure survival. Pure survival. They're going to blame all of their problems on everybody else. Often at times, they're going to blame it on the government and systematic oppression. They're going to get the minimum job that they can get, and sometimes they're not even going to get a job. It just depends on if they don't have any other choice. That's the first type of guy. The second type of worker are the ones that often at times you see in the middle class. And you got to remember, both of these two types of people, they fill the ranks of 99% of the workforce. And don't get it confused. Just because you have a business does not mean that you don't fit into these categories. Just because you have a business does not mean that you don't fit into these two type of categories. Right? You can have a business, but I swear to God, if you don't do the thing that's in the best interest of the customers, and then they start having TikTok reviewers and then they try to do something negative against you, your bosses are your customers. Just because your name is on a business don't mean that you're doing anything more successful. Often at times you work much harder with a lot less profit, but you're sold the illusion that you have more time because you can make your own schedule. In reality, you eat what you kill, and you really know that this is just a matter of survival. Same thing when it comes to people that get corporate jobs, right? And it doesn't matter whether or not you slinging packages at UPS, you at the call center, you go into getting into some form of a vice presidency, all the way up to close to the C-suite, right? You could be an engineer, you could be an architect, you can be an underwater basket weaver, a social worker, or whatever. Everybody else fits into the category because often at times they have debt. Often at times they champion credit. Often at times they're consumers of debt. They have some form of a student loan that they didn't pay off. And even those workers, all of these people that's over at the UAW, they striking right now. And guess what? Their lifestyle, let's just say hypothetically they get every single thing that they want. Their lifestyle will never change. It'll be a perception of change. It'll be a perception that they're doing more. Maybe they can get a little bit bigger of a house. Maybe they're going to still, you know what I'm saying, be able to finance a car and have one or two cars in the driveway. And, you know, they may even be able to help their kids with their student loans or help them get through college. But the fact of the matter is they're going to be required to work the rest of your life just to be able to survive and just to be able to be successful, or a perception of success. This is the second type of worker, right? The first worker is the person that's going to do the bare minimum in order to survive. The second worker is the person that feels as though they fit in, and just because they've even created different classes within the middle class. I'm lower middle class, I'm basic, I'm upper middle class. You think that you may be better than somebody else because you may make a couple more dollars than somebody else. You may live in a certain neighborhood, but the fact of the matter is all of you motherfuckers got 30-year mortgages. All of you motherfuckers got car notes. All of y'all got student loan debt. And some of you, when you get out of student loan debt, you just breathe a sigh of relief, but you don't really put yourself in a mindset that goes into the third category of a person that has a job. The third category. This is the most important person. This is the person that you want to become. Again, I have a corporate job. So it's not that I'm absolving myself from it, it's that I'm giving you the education and the insight to understand what the mindset is to then go into the next level. The third type of person is this type of person. They are the person that look at the job as a jump off point or an opportunity to propel themselves into something that's much different than what the first two is doing. We don't aspire to have a 30-year mortgage, and so we may do things a little bit differently. We don't want to go into a boot camp in order to just get into IT. I understand that you may be doing it, and that's cool, but that's not what the inspiration is for, right? Let me tell you the profile of the third type of worker. We may go to school for a little bit longer, not just take a boot camp, or we may get a boot camp in order to get an additional certification so that we can make more money, and then we can invest that money into getting the fuck up out of there, because you was never supposed to be in the UAW striking for the next 30 years for the rest of your life. That's somebody else's job. My goal when I got into the plant was never to be in the plant for the rest of my life. My goal was to then leverage the tuition assistance to then get a bigger bag and then use that shovel in order to create the dirt to really grow out my assets. It's the people that's willing to make the sacrifice longer term so that they can then do the thing that's in the best interest of their family and then create a generational wealth. Wealth is a mindset, meaning that I'm not working so that I can pay a bill. I'm working so that I can create assets that then pay for the bills, and then I'm going to be in the control of the people that do what they're supposed to do. The third type of person works a job, or they may work a job just like you, but the goal is to never continue to be in that job. The goal was to go into, let me tell you, I'll give you an example. I had multiple job offers when I was graduating from community college in order to go into corporate America. I handpicked going to the University of Michigan because I knew that they were going to pay for me getting the tuition assistance, and they were going to pay for me to continue to go into a major university in order to get my bachelor's degree. On top of that, they double matched my 401k, which also contributed into my assets. I no longer was dependent on my paycheck, and so all of that money was going into my brokerage account on top of whatever it was that I was maxing out for my 401k, right? And it was giving me the experience that allowed for me to then leapfrog into corporate America at a much higher level to get a bigger bag so that I can have a bigger shovel in order to become more successful. The first thing that you have to do is change your mindset of what your expectations are, reverse engineer of where you want to be, and then create the pathway to what success looks like for that. If you still sitting there on the picket line on the next bargaining contract, then me and you going to have a problem, because I don't think that it's anything wrong with you going to work, but if you're going to stay there for the rest of your life, then that means that me and you going to have to divest ourselves against each other because I'm going in a completely different direction. My goal was to never work there so that I can have a job for the rest of my life. My goal was to work there so that I can have a bigger shovel and create the assets that I need and the access that I need in order to get to the next level. That's the other 1% that you guys are not familiar with because you don't know what it looks like. You don't understand what that mindset comes with in order to be successful. It's nothing wrong with working a job. The problem is that you think that the job defines you. And so when somebody walks up to you and they say, hey, who are you and what do? You say, my name is ABC and this is what my job title is. I'm not defined by a job title. I'm defined by the fact that I'm adding value every day into my assets, which then leads to my ability to be able to pour into other people more effectively. You are your job because that's the label that they gave you. Your whole life, they've been giving you labels. From the time that you was a little kid all the way up until the time that you grew up to be an adult. You've now finally kicked it with somebody on the Millionaire Morning Show that not only entertains you, but gives you insight on how it is that you need to reprogram your mindset to become successful. Think about it. The time that you was in elementary school, you was a 5th grader. And then you went over to middle school and you thought that you was better than everybody else because you was an 8th grader. Hey, what's going on? How old are you? You an 8th grader. They put a label on you. You then were defined by what it is that you identified as, an 8th grader. And then you got to high school. You switched it up a little bit. You didn't say I'm in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. You said I'm a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. You let the label define who you are, and it programmed you to be a worker for the rest of your life. You thought that you was better than a freshman because you was a senior. In reality, you was just supposed to be leapfrogging off of that into getting into something completely different. And you can tell the difference between the people once they start to get to college. They don't look at it the same way that you do. They're not in there just to get a job. They're in there to then service their lifestyle. Think about it. The reason why it's so much easier for a person that's going to become a doctor or a neurosurgeon or whatever, it's easier for them to be poor for longer is because they've already reverse engineered what their life is going to be. And they even okay with taking on $300,000, $400,000 in student loans because they're going to pay it off in 1 year. They're willing to be poor for an extended period of time while all y'all out there borrowing and begging and thinking that your credit score is supposed to be meaningful to you. You're not educating yourself and reprogramming yourself to what success really looks like. And so as a result, you become a label for the rest of your life, which then puts you in this perpetual state of working for somebody else and not working on the behalf of generational wealth as it relates to you being able to pass that down in your family. This is a mindset. It's 3 types of workers, but your job should not be the thing that defines who you are. It is the thing that then gives you the ability. It's a tool. Money is a tool that gives you the ability to get yourself up out of your circumstances and go to the next level. Now, and this is why they say at some point, most people never really graduate high school because they have the same mindset. If you look on social media, it's really just like high school. The thing that they program to you at your most impressionable years is the thing that you carry with you until you die. And this is why you will always be begging a company for a pension, begging for a 32-hour work week, having a mindset that does not allow for you to grow. If you are still at that next bargaining chip, if you're still on the line, and don't get me wrong, I'm cool with it. I need a barista. I need a person to make my cars. I need a person to deliver my packages. I am never going to dump on the people that do the things that allow for me to be able to support my lifestyle for the rest of my life. But let me tell you something. You don't have to be one of them. You don't have to be one of them. You can be a completely different person that has a completely different mindset that yields and allows for you to then get into the 1%. Starts here first, though. You protesting because you knew you was a worker. They never told you that you would ever be able to be anything more than a worker, and so that's the thing that you lean into the most. Every time somebody asks you, who are you, you then define yourself by what your position is. You can't place me into a box, even as a content creator. The thing that they trying to define me as, they tried to tell me that I was a lifestyle blogger. I was urbex, urban exploration, financial, relationship. You can't define me. I don't even say what it is that I am. You a part of this, you a part of that. No, I'm going to let you say whatever it is that you think I am, but I'm ever evolving because I'm always growing and I'm always trying to get to the next level because I've reverse engineered where it is that I want my life to be, and I'm going based off of that. The thing that you think I am, it's going to be different by the time that you define it. And you should be the same way. You should never be defined by what it is that people see you as at that particular time. You always should be growing. And as long as you're growing, the money come along with it. Being a bag chaser, being a Patreon member, being a part of the bag chasers is continuing to become the best version of yourself, understanding that the money, the relationships, the growth, the marriage, all of the successes come along with it. You are not your hood. Stop defending a place that you don't even own. You are not your home. If you don't pay property taxes for the next 3 years, it's not even yours no more. You are not your circumstance. Stop defining yourself as poor or rich. You are neither. You are not your job. Stop telling people what it is that you do based off of the title that they gave you at the job that you do. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make you better than anybody else. It always comes back to the money. And the money is the defining factor, not because it makes you better than anybody else, but it's a reflection of what it is that you've been able to do successfully if you've done it the right way. I need you to start thinking a little bit differently about what success is. You are not your circumstance. You are not a race. You are not defined by your gender. You are not defined by your hood, where you were born, your job, where you come from. None of that. You are an entirely new creature. You are a new specimen. You have a new mindset every day. You are growing every day, and you've already plotted your path, and your purpose is not going to be defined by what you do for a living. It's going to be defined, and it's going to be completely revealed to you as you continue to do the work. You should not be the same person at 20 as you are at 30, 30 at 40, 40 at 50, 50 at 60, and 60 at 70. And if you do not leave this earth in a better space had you not been here, then you did not fulfill anything outside of just existing long enough to feed your face, have some sex, and then die. And that is not living. That is dying. That is not living. That is dying. I don't know what they told you. That is not living. That is dying. I will never be the dude that you walk up to as a result of coming to a high school reunion and say, remember when? Because I am not a remember when type of person. I can't wait till. I am not a remember when type of person. I don't live in the past. The past was a learning opportunity for me to continue to propel myself into the future. I am not a remember when type of dude. I can't wait till. Can't wait to get this new car. Can't wait to travel to this new place. Can't wait to change the lives of my people and continue to put people on. Can't wait to redefine what it is that you think success is and get to you every single day in order to be able to add value into your life. I'm not a remember when. I'm a can't wait till. It's different for me. And until you change your mindset, you can't even see the difference between you and the person that you're standing next to. That's why you can't divest yourself against them. I need you to change your mindset. Look at success differently. Stop letting them put you in a box. You can't be defined. You ever evolving. How they gonna tell you what you are and they don't even know? You don't even know yet. I don't even know how great I'm gonna be yet. The ceiling ain't even been defined for me yet. Let's get it. Let's be successful. Let me read a couple more super chats and then I'm going to get y'all out of here for the day. I just wanted to leave y'all with that. It's Monday. We going to cook all week. I'm back in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my dog V. Scott in the building, says you should be on TED Talk with this type of game. They not ready for me. I'm on Time Talk. I'm on Time Talk. They can't define what I am. I'm on Time Talk, not TED Talk, Time Talk. I've been refining and mastering my craft for years. You know what I'm saying? Brock is in the building, says, pass a love offering. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for holding me down. Aaron says, hold on, you're not a Lions fan. And Dallas, both of you and Rita said Lions suck. Don't change up how they still trash. No, I'm not a Lions fan. I don't have season tickets to the Lions, but they're still the home team. I'm still going to highlight the home team, Aaron. I'm a Pistons fan for life. Shout out to my dog, Aaron. I appreciate you, big dog. Chris Chapman says, Anton, have you read Napoleon's Hill, Outwitting the Devil? You're describing a drifter caught up in the wrong hypnotic rhythm. I have not read it. Should that be something that I pick up, my friend? Absolutely. I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to get that book. Martin Metch says, how heavy was the cross that Jesus had to bear? You don't get to grace without sacrifice. Keep putting in the work, everyone. Shout out to you. Let me give a round of applause for that one. That's dope. I love it. Listen, y'all, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to the Millionaire Morning Show. Shout out to all of my people on all of the different platforms that you're viewing us on. I love you guys. You are absolutely, positively the best audience on earth, and we're going to continue to grow. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. If you are in the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Discord, which is linked to any of the most recent posts inside of the Patreon. Also, make sure you tune into the Hey Q show tonight. It's going to be dope. I'm going to be on there with all of my friends. Q going to be on there, and we're going to continue to run it up. I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, though. Just one. Make sure that you share this with your family and friends. If you're not sharing this channel and you just want to be selfish and you want to just be rich by yourself and you just want to be a Patreon member by yourself, that's no good. We want to add value into everybody else's life too. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friends. You are the greatest audience on earth. I'm going to see y'all tonight on the Hey Q show. Peace.